Hello everybody, I'm told it's time for another broadcast. So here I am at the office in Georgia and I would like to talk to you about two things. Firstly, I want to give a shout out for Morocco and their reaction and handling of the pandemic. There has been much criticism, as I know there has in every single country. It's very easy to criticise. But if you look at the numbers of people who have been ill in Morocco overall, it is pretty low. And I'm not going to quote numbers at you today. And people who say the Moroccan government are hiding the figures, well, I have to say to you, I have spoken to doctors who are working at the hard end and are working with the people in intensive care, and the numbers are not fabricated. But I want to say something about how the situation is now. I don't want to enter a debate as to whether we should have vaccines or not. And ideally, in another life, I would have been against having the vaccine. But the position that Charles and I have taken here in Morocco is that we are in our late 70s. We maybe only have another 10 years or so. And quite frankly, we're not prepared to sacrifice that 10 years if having the vaccine enables us to go back home and see our family or have the family over here. And we also feel that if we can do whatever we can to protect local people, we're prepared to take that on face value. But I must say, I'm not against independent choice, but that is the decision we have made. Now, this is the good part. We didn't apply to have a vaccine. We didn't make a fuss about it because we believed that if there were vaccines available, it should go to the Moroccan people first. But I have to say, our experience has been extraordinary. One day, 3 weeks ago, Charles got a phone call saying, would he go down to the local commune now and have his vaccination, which he did. He went straight in, saw a doctor, had the vaccination, an appointment for 3 weeks. The next day, I had exactly the same. And yesterday, Charles went back for his second jab, and I had a personal phone call this morning asking me if I would go to the local commune and have my vaccination. I went down, the people down there couldn't have been kinder, more supportive. I didn't have to wait. And I asked particularly about a certificate, and I was told that if we put our identity number, because we all have to be residents here, and you know how strongly I feel about people who live here who are not residents, but we are residents. So we go onto the website, we put in our residence number, they send a code to our telephone, and we then can have our certificate. Trouble-free, and really, hats off. They have done amazingly well. And it was just good to be down there with older Moroccans who were having their vaccination as well. And they felt reassured, I hope, by the fact we were there with them. So I'm going to leave that for a moment and then talk about the effect the pandemic's had on us. Well, firstly, of course, it's had an effect on me because I've gone and had my vaccination. I wouldn't have done that a year ago. I would have been so against it. But we all have to make our personal decisions and personal choices. And it's been a year now since I spoke on the BBC and was worried about how we would cope and how we would manage. And we have had a year of really hard work. We haven't had time to socialise. We haven't had time to go out to dinner, even if we'd been able to. The number of our animals has doubled, and that has focused our mind. And it's focused the mind in a most amazing way, because we have learnt so much from the donkeys, the mules, some of the horses who were starving. It has brought the community together in a way I would never have believed possible. It has brought us support from places like the finest hotel in Morocco, from La Mamounia, and elsewhere. And we are now having to build extra stables and use the whole of our land for the benefit of the animals. And I hear on social media, people have had a lot of time to think. Thankfully, we haven't. They've had a lot of time to think. They're looking at new entrepreneurial ways of doing things and holding meetings together and having courses. And that, I suppose, is to be applauded. But of course, if you just get on with life and have to do what you have to do for the common good, you have a very, very different perspective. And in many ways, we feel so much closer to the Moroccans than we did before. And I would say to other people who live in this country, who are not Moroccan, to remember what the Moroccans have been through. The poverty in the villages is extreme. And we see that because the donkeys we take are often owned by people who can no longer afford to feed them. And when people start to talk about magical Marrakesh and how it will open up and it'll all be wonderful, I hope that's true. But don't forget the people who have been starving, the people who suffered, the people who have lost their businesses. And I say to people who are now able to buy riads and houses cheaply because of the pandemic, don't think you're going to make a fortune overnight. And please don't forget those people in the tourist industry who are really struggling. As I say time and time again, the donkeys has brought the best out of all of us. And the people who support us, work with us, visit us, are perfectly well aware of what it is like on the ground. And we're all there to encourage Morocco in every sense of the word and to encourage tourism when it returns. And for those of you who have supported us throughout the pandemic, whether it be big or small, you will never be forgotten. And we hope that little by little you can all come back to Morocco, come to Marrakesh, and you will hold pride of place here at the refuge. So have a lovely day, all of you. The sun is shining here, spring is coming, and little shoots of hope with the vaccination programs across the UK, Europe, other countries, and Morocco, who really are at the forefront. So bye for now.